Hello everyone, Master Venus here, and welcome to a brand new Draft League video for a new league. This time, this is the CCC, the Critical Continental Cup. This is Season 5. Now, I haven't recorded any videos in the CCC, but I am a veteran player of this league. I have played in it for the past 4 seasons, and I'm coming back once again for Season 5. Now, I am super excited. That is the wrong button. Sorry. That is the wrong button. That is also the wrong button. That is also the wrong button. And I'm super excited, there we go, for this league to kick off because I have a really cool team that I can't wait to honestly use. It's full of a few Pokemon that I've never used before, plus a few that I've seen used, and a couple that I've actually used myself before, including one that I've used on a pretty recent team that I'm happy I can reuse, and also one that was on one of my initial VGC teams. So let's introduce the team. So yeah, also you may notice that I have one of every single Pokemon trained up. This is because the CCC has a rule where after a battle you can switch out you can switch as many Pokemon as you want for any other Pokemon that are on your team. I obviously have, there's 10 Pokemon, so I can switch out one of these 6, which I plan to use for the battle, for one of these Pokemon that not got this blue thing by it. But anyway, let's go over the team. You can probably see them there, but first Pokemon is Ursaluna, whose name is Sledge. Yeah, this thing is a monster, as it's pretty evidently shown that this thing can one-shot most things with its signature move, which we actually have here. That's the wrong moves. Blood Moon, which, if you can read the description, it says the user unleashes the full brunt of its spirit from a full moon that shines as red as blood. This move can't be used twice in a row. Basically, it's a normal type Gigaton hammer with base 140 power, special normal types with stab. And if you look at its ability, it has Mind's Eye, which is a brand new ability exclusive to Blood Moon Ursaluna, where it ignores Pokemon's changes to evasiveness and accuracy, so basically it cannot miss under any normal circumstances. Basically, you can't use stand attack on it, you can't double team up on it. But also, it can hit ghost types with normal and fighting type moves, which means moves that it has like Blood Moon, Vacuum Wave, Hyper Voice, stuff of the sorts, it cannot hit it. And I'm probably going to put the Treasure Hunter, just if you know the nickname, you know the nickname. Next up, we have Thanos the Clefairy. I still love this nickname. It's in a Master Ball because Thanos, he wants it to be perfectly balanced. So that's why we have an Eviolite, and this thing is perfectly balanced. But yeah, Clefairy is a really cool support Pokemon that can kind of just defend its teammates with Friend Guard, which reduces damage dealt to allies. It also gets Magic Guard, which really helps versus damage over time effects. Like, nobody drafted Garganacl, but like toxic stuff, like it helps versus that. And then you never use its last ability. I don't even remember what its last ability is, because it's not Unaware. That's the ability that Friend Guard replaces. But yeah, this thing gets Follow Me, it now gets Life Dew, it gets Chilling Water, it gets its original Icy Wind, which is really good. I don't know if it always got Imprison, but it gets Imprison. So yeah, next Pokemon is Tsunami the Basculegion. Basculegion is a powerhouse with adaptability, but it also gets Swift Swim, meaning in rain it doubles its speed, which I don't have it this time around, but adaptability is an incredible ability that has pushed some Pokemon into the realm of being busted if, like, this Pokemon was given. Like, if this ability was given to something like, I don't know, Blood Moon Ursaluna, I feel like it would just be busted. But anyway, back onto Basculegion. Wave Crash, Aqua Jet, Lost Surf Attack. This is literally a normal set for it. You don't really need much coverage with this thing, considering adaptability just boosts the power of its stabs enough, where even resisted targets take this thing. Like, 120 base power at physical move. It only has base 112 attack. It could be higher. So most of the time you're probably going to be investing into its attack just so we can guarantee kill targets, but it's still incredible. I drafted the male version, so the male version is always strictly better than the female version. Next up, we have King Gambit. Now, this was going to be the slot where Baxcalibur was going to be, but Baxcalibur got sniped from me. Screw you, Toby! Anyway, sorry, I don't know what that was. But anyway, King Gambit, what does this Pokemon not do? I feel like it's like Bastion where I can kind of spam its stab types just because of how good Dark Steel is. Obviously, I have a coverage move on this one because it's pretty obvious that this Pokemon can't hit a couple Pokemon on his team for decent neutral or super effective damage, but it has Defiant, which is incredible in doubles considering Intimidate is everywhere, and our opponent for week 1 does have an Intimidate Pokemon, which I think they'll bring. But yeah, King Gambit is an incredible Dark Steel Pokemon. I've used Bishop before, so the name Checkmate is from a Bishop that I had, which led me to my first ever Draft League win in the YCL doubles, not singles. But yeah, I'm super excited to use King Gambit. It's been one Pokemon that I've been so please can I actually have a chance to use this thing. I just saw it. I was like, this actually kind of fits my team. All right, moving on. We have Slowbro, Little John. Hashtag it used to be Jenkins, but Little John translates into Jenkins. Anyway, yeah, I am super excited to use Slowbro again. Last time I used it was in the BMDL Season 1 on Showdown, but now I'm actually using it on the Kart League, as well as also after the DLC drop, so we get Scald now. Sorry, not Scald. I mean Scald as well, but anyway, yeah, it doesn't have to rely on Hydro Pump anymore. Plus, I don't know if it gets any other useful moves. I think it gets Haze now. But most of the time, I feel like just the buff of Scald is enough to push it into a really good Pokemon, just because it doesn't have to hit its Water-type moves. Like, you can't, risk it anymore. Like, it's going to KO with a Water-type move if you're weak to it. There's nothing bad you can say about Slowbro. Like, it's an amazing B tier / T3. There's nothing bad about Slowbro. Unless it's speed, but that can be fixed. And it doesn't always need to be fast. But yeah, Slowbro's just a little derpy boy. He's one of the best Gen 1 Pokemon, in my opinion. So yeah. Speaking of Gen 1, we got a Pokemon that comes from Gen 1, but is a new form of a Gen 1 Pokemon. In Galarian Articuno, I've used the regular form of Articuno in the GLDL, which you've probably already seen maybe, I'm not sure, but I used the Kanto version. I'm now using the Galarian version, which honestly is better, sadly. I love the normal version, but strictly this one is better because of its better typing, its better stat spread. It's got the same base stats, each stat, but it's changed around a bit. It has base 125 special attack. Plus, like King Gambit, it has an ability which is kind of busted in doubles in competitive, that instead of boosting its attack by 2 stages, it boosts its special attack by 2 stages. So it's a special version of Defiant, basically, which is better against Intimidate because you get +2 rather than just +1. But yeah, this thing also has a signature move, which is basically a Psychic-type Ice Beam, or Psychic, but instead of getting a special defense drop, you have a chance to freeze the target. But sadly, like Ice Beam, it is only 10%. But due to this Pokemon's power, I feel like if you want to KO something, most of the time you're going to 2-hit KO something with the 90 base power Psychic move. So I feel like most scenarios you'd want to just have a chance to freeze them rather than just lowering their special defense. But yeah, I will go over that item in a bit. But yeah, next up we have a Pokemon that I'm super excited to use and I feel like it's going to be really, really incredible this season in Illumise, Juliet Illumise. Also, this thing's name is Frozen. Honey, where is my super suit? Anyway, back onto Juliet. Illumise, if you guys don't know, gets the ability Prankster, which, if you know anything about VGC, you know how incredible Prankster is. This Pokemon could be like a mini Tornadus. It can set Pranks to Tailwind, it can set Pranks to Rain, meaning it's a big threat with Basculegion, as Basculegion just protects while this thing sets up one of the 2 Rain or Tailwind. And also there's other niche support moves like Encore. It can use also Infestation, which I put on it, but it gets other moves like Struggle Bug. But since my opponent doesn't really have many special Pokemon that I want Illumise kept it on, Struggle Bug isn't on there. Infestation's kind of good into the matchup, in able to trap Pokemon. But I'll go more over the trapping when I get to talk about this Pokemon in its role on the team. But yeah, Prankster with this thing, it gets it gets more nice moves like Moonlight, it gets Fake Tears, it also gets Sunny Day, so if I want to set up my Fire Pokemon that I'm going to talk about in a bit. But yeah, Juliet, the Illumise, I feel like it's going to be big this season. So yeah, next up we have Breloom. I am super excited to use Breloom. Breloom is a cool Pokemon that its stat spread, its stats could be better. It has a quite low speed stat. It has average bulk, like below average bulk, but it has a really good attack stat, so it can hit pretty hard. Which means it needs a lot of support in order to use very well. But if given that support, this thing can wreck teams. It gets Technician, which means it powers up the power of its normal moves, because if you were to use these moves normally, they'd be kind of either useless, or you need something with bonkers in physical attack. But also it gets this incredible move here, Spore, which an 100% accurate sleep move is broken. It's one of the few things that makes Amoonguss one of the best things, because it's so bulky that it can just spam Spore. Basically, I want something so bulky with Spore that it can actually just tank a lot of hits and then just put things to sleep, like Brute Bonnet or Amoonguss, or something very, very fast to use Spore. Like, normally with Toad's Cruel, but it gets Mycelium Might. Basically, the only way you can use this thing is by giving it a speed, with either Trick Room or Tailwind, and then trying to fire off a Spore. This thing doesn't have the best speed. What do I do about that? Okay. But yeah, High Guy, because he got high. I won't sing the rest of the song because DMCA, but you probably know the song. But yeah, Breloom, it's incredible. Loaded Dice Ability Technician is just incredible. Speaking of that said fire type, we have Salazzle. I am super excited to use Salazzle. It's got an incredible special attack stat, it's got an incredible speed stat, so it can outspeed a lot of things that would normally be considered fast. Base 117 is just incredible speed tiering. It can be offensive. It could also be a pretty good support Pokemon with moves like Fake Out, Fake Tears, Encore. But it can also be really offensive with moves like Sludge Bomb and Overheat. And also can fire off Heat Waves and Flamethrowers. So it's a Pokemon that can be very offensive, but also very support heavy. Plus, it can have the ability to fire off 3 status conditions. It gets Will-O-Wisp, it gets Toxic, and it gets Thunder Wave. Meaning it can do speed control as well with its high speed stat. But only if you can get paralyzed, that is. This thing, I don't think, gets Scary Face. And Mona Lisa, it's another reference that I'm not expecting everyone to know. It's from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but I don't expect anyone to get this reference. If you do, that's incredible. And last up, we have Electrode. Balls. It's just a funny nickname, and you are now obligated to laugh. Now that I've given you time to laugh, let's go over what makes Electrode probably one of the best D-tier Pokemon in the roster. Base 150 speed. It's one of the fastest Pokemon in existence for a reason. It's a ball. Balls. Anyway, yeah, Air Balloon, obviously. I'm just going to go over this thing now just because I don't think I'm going to bring it unless I want massive speed control with Scary Face and Static. But yeah, it also gets Fast Taunt. I'll go over my Terra types after I finish going over Electrode about why it is just Grass and just Poison. Where's Electrode? There's Electrode. But anyway, yeah, Electrode has an alright special attack stat. It's base 80, so it's not going to be knocking things out in one hit. I was basically looking at DT and thinking, what is an electric type that I want to use? And Electrode popped that up. The Hisuian form is in the tier above, but this thing also kind of works. But yeah, Electrode is a very good support Pokemon. Sadly, it doesn't get both screens. It only gets Light Screen in this generation, but basically Prankster on this thing is kind of mental. Its abilities are kind of niche, but honestly, it can kind of work. Because most of the time, you don't really need to invest in its speed, since it naturally outspeeds almost anything. The only things you really need to speed invest this thing in is hard Tailwind matchups, potentially, where you outspeed stuff in Tailwind, but yeah. Electrode is something that probably won't come much, but when it does, it can make a big difference. Alright, let's start going over our opponents for this week in Luke. I am super excited to face Luke because I haven't faced him in a regular version of the CCC matches. I haven't played him in any playoffs. The only time I've faced him is in finals day random matches because we never got to face each other in actual season play. And this is the first time, and it's been 5 seasons. Mainly just because we've been in different sections of the league. This is the first time I've actually been in a section of the league with Luke. So it's going to be a blast to play him. He's got a very scary team, honestly. He's got the power to set Sun, which can be really big detrimental to stuff like Vasculegion. He's got 2 Fire-type Pokemon, so some Pokemon like Breloom and King Gambit are just going to get murked. Same with Illumise, but obviously I have countermeasures, like Ursaluna kind of just rocks up Ninetales and also Tauros, unless I Terra. I got a Terra, honestly, if I want to tank hits. That's why we have Calm Mind. Because once we Terra, we kind of wall off the Tauros, and we can one-shot it with Earth Power. He has Terra types Flying and Fire. Oh, I forgot to go over it. So basically in this league, you also drop Terra types. So as you can see, I've drafted both Poison and Grass, which honestly for the team, it's kind of nice Terra types. They're not the best. I got sniped on both Terra types. I wanted Water and I wanted Fairy, and I had Ghost as a backup option. So once both Waters went, I was like, okay, I gotta grab Grass because one of the grasses just went. So it's just like, okay, I'll grab Grass. I'm going to be able to get either one of the two Ghosts or the last remaining Fairy. There's no way they're going to go by the time I come back, right? I was hella wrong because both Ghosts and one Fairy went before it was my turn again. So I kind of had to work. I basically went down the list, looked for Fighting Resist, since I kind of wanted a Fighting Resistant Terra type for Ursaluna, because this thing kind of struggles with its Fighting type sometimes, so I just wanted an initial Terra. As you can see, Poison. But Poison also kind of works with a lot of my team. It's a really good offensive type of my team, because Bastion Legion kind of gets hard stalled by Grass types. And so does Slowbro sometimes, if it doesn't carry in Flamethrower or Ice Beam. So Poison is a really nice offensive type. So yeah, it also is really nice for just blocking any chance of people poisoning me, since I have one of the only two Corrosion users. I'm not sure if anyone has Glamora, but I have one of the only two Corrosion users. I'm sorry if you can hear the Discord pinging, but yeah, I'll mute whatever that is when I am done with this section. But yeah, we are facing Luke. I am super excited to battle him. We look like we have some coughings. Hello, fellas. You ready to watch the match? I assume you are. I know, Jen, you'll be happy about these guys. The babies, your babies. But anyway, see you guys in the match.